Although excited, everyone knew that it was not a simple matter to leave Tongxuan continent and enter the Star Territory. Ling Taishu and Meng Wuya failed after joining forces, and the difficulty can be imagined. Now that Yang Kai dared to make this promise, everyone was extremely excited. Don't make a noise, don't make a noise. Ling Taishu stretched out his hand and pressed. Since little Yang Kai said so, there should be a perfect solution, right? As he said this, he smiled and looked at Yang Kai. Grand Teacher Brightview, it is really not a hassle to take you into the Star Territory. Well, let's put it this way, not only the people here, but also your family people, and even the entire Nine Heavens Holy Land, I can take away, but it will take some time. Take everyone away? Ling Taishu was also shocked now. Not to mention the Battle Soul Palace and Broken Mysterious Palace, there were 3,000 to 4,000 people from Central Capital that year, and there were more than 2,000 disciples in the Nine Heavens Holy Land. Add them together, there are as many as 5,000 or 6,000 people. How can Yang Kai take away such a large number? The power of the starry sky is extremely powerful, and even at the level of Void Return stage, Yang Kai can't protect so many people. Well, I have my own way, Grand Teacher, don't worry. Yang Kai grinned. The key is to see if you are willing to go. Yes, of course I am. Huo Xianxia yelled immediately and said eagerly, when will you leave? Hehe, brother Huo, don't worry. Although you are the head of the family, you still have to discuss this kind of thing with your family. Maybe some people don't want to leave here. If they are willing to go, come with me, but if they don't want to, just stay. Well, the Chu family, the Yang family, and the Dong family are all the same. Chu girl, eldest brother, cousin, you are now the heads of each family. You should handle this by yourself and discuss it carefully with the elders of each family. We know. Yang Wei and Dong Qinghan nodded. Chu Yimeng also echoed, and her dim beautiful eyes seemed to have regained some brilliance because of this news. Able to enter the Star Territory. She may be able to reach a higher level. She does not seek to be like Yang Kai, but only to narrow the distance between each other. Perhaps one day, she can touch him. She saw a little hope which suddenly made her look radiant. That said, I won't have to be separated from you for so long, so far apart. Dong Suzu looked at Yang Kai excitedly. Yang Kai is her only heir, but since her son entered the High Heaven Pavilion at the age of 13, she has been away from Yang Kai for a long time. It was better before, although Yang Kai can't be seen, at least she knows that he is living well in the High Heaven Pavilion. Later in the battle for the succession, Yang Kai was only 100 miles away from her. But since Yang Kai left Dongxuan continent and went deep into the Star Territory for more than 30 years, not only did she not see Yang Kai, but she could not even hear the slightest sound or news of him. If it hadn't been for Yang Fourth Master painstaking efforts to regulate her body and mood these years, Dong Suzu would have collapsed long ago. Today, knowing that she can also go to the Star Territory with her son, Dong Suzu is extremely happy. Yang Kai looked at her and nodded lightly at her. Dong Suzu smiled kindly, a smile from the bottom of her heart. It shouldn't be too late. I'm going to discuss with those old guys. Huo Xianxia didn't want to delay, and quickly got up and left. Seeing the posture, it seemed that even if someone would dare to disagree, he just want to do it. I will go too. Yang Wei got up and left. Chu Yimeng followed closely behind. They are not willing to delay anything. The heart of yearning for higher levels of martial arts makes them yearn for the miracle in the Star Territory. Quickly. Only Ling Taishu and Yang Fourth Master remained in the hall. The family finally reunited. There are endless words, endless thoughts. After learning that Yang Kai still could not find Su Yan's whereabouts, Dong Suzu sighed and comforted. She likes Su Yan very much. Boy, I don't have a problem with you thinking about Su Yan, but have you ever thought about how people here should be dealt with first? Fourth Master Yang suddenly looked at Yang Kai and asked pointedly. Little senior sister? Yang Kai chuckled. I have already met her, but there seems to be something wrong with little senior sister. When she wakes up, I have to ask carefully. Don't pretend to be stupid. Fourth Master Yang glared at him. Ning Chang is not the only person here. There are several others. Where can there be so many? Kai yelled, looking wronged. There is one on the Battle Soul Palace and two on the Gemini Pavilion. You think I don't know anything when I'm an old man? Fourth Master Yang sneered, and said proudly, you don't say anything. But I know it better than anyone else. Kai blushed to death. Dong Suzu giggled on the side and gave Kai a thumbs up quietly. Fourth Master has been in love with her all her life. She has a happy life, but she hopes that her son can be accompanied by more beauties. Give her 7 to 8 to 10 grandchildren, so that the lives of her and Fourth Master will not be boring in the future. Even if Kai is not under their knees, they can also bring their grandchildren. Okay, don't mix things up with the young people. Kai is not an unreasonable person, and he won't make the little girl sad if he wants to come. Ling Taishu interjected. When the teacher spoke, Fourth Master Yang immediately shrank his head and nodded repeatedly. The entire Battle Soul Palace and the people in the broken mysterious palace site were mobilized. The big families that came here with Kai have held elder meetings frequently in the past few days, and each family seems to be discussing something important. Everyone knew that Kai had returned, and they all learned that they were going to the Star Territory. No coercion, all voluntary. The Nine Heavens Holy Land also received a message from Kai, and the orders were the same as those on the Battle Soul Palace. In addition, Kai also sent a message to the Firmament Heaven sect. 2 days later, Kai returned to the Nine Heavens Holy Land. He went directly to the secret room where Ning Chang was in retreat. The little senior sister is still asleep. She seems to be quite exhausted the last time she became devil, and she hasn't woken up until now. Kai came to her, held her jade hand, and gently poured some Saint Yuan. After a while, Ning Chang's eyelashes trembled, and Kai sat on the edge of the bed, facing her sideways, smiling and waiting. After a while, Ning Chang opened her beautiful eyes, and when she saw Kai's face, her eyes instantly solidified. Looking at him blankly. The eyes are facing each other, just like the accidental affection in the Nine Mountain Valley. A bit of heartbeat, a bit of panic. Ning Chang suddenly pursed her lips and laughed. What are you laughing at? Kai asked while looking at her with a smile. This dream is so long. Ning Chang held Kai's big hand with a great strength, holding on tightly, as if unwilling to let go. Kai also grinned, leaned down and kissed her jewel-like red lips affectionately. Little senior sister could hardly breathe. The lips are divided, the temperature of the delicate body rises, and the beautiful eyes become blurred. In your dream, would you do these things with me? Kai looked treacherous. Ning Chang's pretty face immediately blushed. She moved her lower body and buried her head under Kai's clothes, as if she did not dare to see anyone again. Kai got the answer and laughed happily. Suddenly, Ning Chang's delicate body trembled, and hurriedly sat up, froze in place. The beautiful eyes focused on Kai's face, with a look of doubt and surprise in her eyes. Junior brother, you. Ning Chang opened her mouth, and the frowning brows were very beautiful, as if she was still a little confused. I'm back, Kai said softly. The little senior sister immediately covered her red lips with her hand, her beautiful eyes trembled, and misty water filled her eyes. Tears slid down her cheeks, and her eyes turned red in an instant. She finally realized that everything was real, not that she was dreaming. The man who she was thinking about was sitting alive by her bed right now. Looking at her affectionately, she almost melted into the sight of tenderness and sweetness. She can't believe it. I'm really back. Kai stretched out his hands, hugged her in his arms, and slammed her into his body. Ning Chang's mouth came out of the sound of moan. She also hugged Kai tightly, and let out a sobbing cry from her throat. The cry made happy and hurt. Straightening her body, Kai arrogantly stopped her crying. Clothes are scattered, and the room is full of spring. All the lovesickness and love are deeply rooted, and at this moment they precipitate and ferment, transforming into happiness that makes Ning Chang almost dizzy. The love between men and women has always been this way. An hour later, Xianxia was energetic and walked out of the secret room in a hurry. Behind her, Ning Chang wore a veil and followed with her head down, ashamed. Her exquisite earlobes and slender neck are still pink, which is amazing. Like a withered grass being watered by rain and dew, Ning Chang at this moment bloomed with unimaginable amorous feelings, enough to turn thousands of sentient beings upside down and drive any man crazy. The hands of the two are closely connected, just like their hearts. Not far away, a flash of light came quickly, seeming to be looking for Xianxia, but after seeing this scene, he immediately turned his head and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Master, Ning Chang groaned, wishing to find a place to drill down. She saw that the person in the escape was Meng Wuya. Xianxia grinned silly. Ning Chang bit her red lips and stomped her feet angrily and annoyed. Forget it, Treasurer Meng must have nothing important, otherwise he won't leave. Xianxia said, a relieved, well, little senior sister, I have something to ask you. What's the matter? Ning Chang looked up at him timidly, and quickly turned aside Xianxia's gaze. This shy appearance made Xianxia want to turn around and return to the secret room. The Saint Yuan was running, and finally suppressed the urges in his heart. Xianxia looked at her and said, when I helped you sort out the meridians and the Saint Yuan, I found that there was a cloud of gray qi in your body. What is that? That thing? Ning Chang frowned upon hearing this. Actually, I don't know what it is. You don't know? Xianxia was surprised. Well, it followed me on its own. Hey, where did it go? Ning Chang suddenly found something wrong. The mysterious energy that had always existed in her body had disappeared at this moment. To be continued.